Hi, my name is Karen Hansen, and this is my really good friend, Della. We're here to tell you about our favorite tool, the Triangle Square Up Ruler from Quilt in a Day. We use this ruler whenever we're making half square triangles. I'm going to show them what one looks like, or quarter square triangles. And the best thing about it is that you can make multiple half square triangles at the same time.
I really like the fact that you can make multiple sizes from this one ruler. You don't have to worry about
running out of paper in the middle of the night.
That's right.
Not having the right size.
That's right. Or even ripping the paper off.
You hate that part.
I do.
Okay, so let's show them how to use the tool. The Square Up Ruler comes with really good instructions.
And if you lose the instructions, they're also on the Quilt in a Day website. What?
Della, did you lose the instructions?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, if you lose them, I'm sure she could find them for you. So the first thing we do is look and decide what size do we want these half square triangles to be. So today for demos we're going to make 3-inch finished size half square triangles. Referring to the instructions, it says I need to cut 2 8-inch squares.
But we like to make them just a little bit bigger than that because it gives you a little bit more space to trim up your half square triangles.
Just a little bit more leeway.
Right. So about 8 1/4 inches is what we cut.
So here we cut our 2 triangles and put them right sides together. And then the next thing you want to do is line them up, and you're going to draw a line from corner to corner on it, so a big X. Next, you're going to go ahead and sew on that diagonal line.
1/4 inch on each side of the diagonal line.
Then I'm going to come over here and lay it down on my mat. I'm going to go ahead and trim it.
Make a vertical cut first, and then I'm going to do a horizontal cut.
Okay. Now it's really nice here. Normally I just would do the contortionist thing and make that cut, but Della's got a rotary mat, which is a very convenient thing, so we'll just spin it around.
So I can make my other straight cut.
There you go.
Now I'm going to do 2 diagonal cuts, and those are right on the line that I've drawn.
It's not right on the line.
Close enough.
And we're going to tell you why that's true in just a minute here.
There you go.
Okay, so you can see here we've got 8 units. So we've made 8 half square triangle units all at once. Now, we like this ruler because we can sew really fast. We only have one speed that we sew with, I think, just as fast as the machine will go.
Right.
And also, some of us don't cut as accurately as others.
That must be you.
Well, anyway, so no matter how you sewed it or how you trimmed it, it doesn't really matter as long as you've got some seam allowance there. And the next thing we're going to do is take our ruler. Now, let me hold it up against the paper so you can see what I'm talking about. And you can see I've got a whole bunch of lines here. Now, the lines here show you that they're in 1-inch increments, and the lines up above are on the 1/2-inch increments. So this ruler is going to let me make anything that's as small as a 1/2-inch finished. Can you imagine?
I can't imagine.
I never do that. You might do that. A 1/2-inch, Carol would do that.
Yeah, Carol would.
A 1/2-inch finished or a 6-inch finished. Now looking at these lines, we're going to go from the unfinished measurement. So I'm going to cut it. I'm going to find that 3.5-inch line, and I'm going to line it up. Here's the 3.5-inch line, and I'm going to put my ruler right on the line I stitched. So that little red dashed line is right on the line. And I'm going to come over and trim away, cut one way there, right on the edge. Next, I do like to go ahead and trim off those dog ears, just being careful not to cut into the stitches. And here you can see that I'm going to end up with a perfect unit. I'm going to go ahead and press it to set the seam, and then press it towards the dark fabric, and there I have a perfect 3-inch unfinished triangle. Right now it's 3.5. You can see it right here, and it's perfect. Now that's why we like the ruler, because it makes perfect half square triangles every time. But let me tell you why I really like the ruler. Della knows that I hate any waste. Now, whenever I sew something, some people might throw the waste away, and I don't like to. So here's an example of a pretty good sized flip over triangle. So you can see here I made a rectangle. I took a square and put it on top of it. I had to draw a diagonal line. I had to stitch in my spare time on that diagonal line. How'd that go for you?
Very fast.
And then once I've got it sewn, I'm going to come over with the ruler, and here you can see this is just handy. I can just go ahead and use this ruler. And I don't really have to measure, but I'm going to estimate about 1/4 inch and cut it off, but there would be my flip over triangle. But what do you do with this little piece?
Some people throw them away.
I don't want to throw them away, so I set them next to my sewing machine and I use them as starters and enders. And you know, if I'm working on a project, I can get 50 of them done in no time. So once I have them sewn, I come back and I look at, well, about what size do I have? And I take the biggest common size, and in this case, I think I can get it to be about a 3-inch unfinished or a 2.5-inch finished size. And again, I just lay that 3-inch mark right there on the seam line. I'm going to come back in and trim them all up, and I'll end up with a perfect, it'll be 2.5-inch or 3-inch unfinished, 2.5-inch finished. Now let me show you an example. So here's a quilt. This is a pattern from Sew Be It called Twinkle. It's really cute. This is only half of it here, so you can see right here I've got all these flip over half square triangles on the corner of those blocks. Well, by the time I was done sewing with it, I had over 100 of them, and of course I'm not throwing them away. So I squared them up with the ruler and stitched them together. Della, me, made these little pinwheel blocks, and then we stitched them together into a 9-patch and made this whole quilt. Now, you wouldn't think they could make this ruler any better, but they did. They made it bigger.
This one goes up to 9.5 inches, and it still makes the very, very small 1-inch finished.
So it does everything the 6.5 ruler would do, and then just goes up a little bit bigger. But I still like my 6.5-inch ruler because I like to use it for squaring up blocks, and also for me, when you're working on smaller things, it's just easy to maneuver.
It is, but I like the 9.5-inch size because I like to make bigger blocks.
So there you go. Your half square triangles will be perfect from here on out, just like me.
Just like us.